Hey everybody. Hi Geezer and Hans and Gildy. How you guys doing? Stefan. Someone's going to the cellar for wine, huh? Okay. Hi Mark and Bruce. Ah, okay, everybody's doing well. Good to see you all. Hi Eddie. Hi NS something. Um some of you I know were here this morning and hi Mark. Uh, and Mark. Uh, okay, the ultrasonic cleaner is coming in a minute. Okay, good. Let us know you like it. Hi, Val. James, too. James, were you the guy that put me on to that Chrono Swiss uh, dial? Hi, Williams Watches. Thanks, Mark, for letting me know about the sound stuff. Um, now, Shed, how are you? Okay. We got us two James. Yeah, we got yes. Okay, good. I'm glad. I thought it was you. Wasn't sure. Um, thank you, by the way. It turned out it's gonna be a good thing to know about. Hi, Mr. Gumby and Daniel and Flippin' Zippo. How are you, everyone? Okay. A couple things for you for those who weren't here this morning. Um, I got an email. Actually, it was came at 3 a.m. My time, and it was from Nicholas Vidarek, and he just said, "I need more time on this." So he's working on something for us. I hope. I really hope that would be so cool. We'll see. Okay, but right now we sort of got to be patient and waiting to see what's what. I've been out in the yard mowing my yard, and I just got in and have to. We got all kinds of critters out there, so my wife throws me in the shower and scrubs me down from all the bugs. So I am debugged. Um, okay, let's talk about a couple things. This morning we talked about I got off on a sort of rethinking the way that watch companies do business, and that's something I'd like to talk about. But it's like something in a way that is makes a lot of sense. If you were the professor in La Casa de Papel planning a bank heist, which watch would you be wearing? What? In La Casa de in the paper house planning a bike house, which watch would I wear? Um, I'd get a G Shock and wear it. If something happened, it'd be okay. Um, okie doke. Where'd you come up with that one, geezer? It was like, we're going to sit here and smoke some dope until Bill gets here. We'll see what we come up with. That was a weird question. What? Uh, now, if you really want to plan a bank robbery, I can help you with that. Um, that's it's not that hard uh, compared to, I mean, it's just a matter of getting information. And so, anyhow. All right, never mind. Let's talk about watches. All right. all right. Okay. How about a Gilo Shade dial? All right. Let's talk about some of these dials. Uh, t- earlier today, James sent me this dial, and I thought, wow, look at that. That's here they've got the sort of a retrograde minute uh, index. They've got a window here for a jumping hour, And then they have a small second down here. We weren't going to have a small second. And James said, this is for getting some ideas. And some of you saw the one I came up with. And this is what I did. I tried to cover this up here so that little hole is gone. And then I put it down here. And all of this stuff is simply to what it does. It covers where the small second was on this guy right here. See that thing at the bottom? Had to cover it up somehow, so I put in some oblong concentric circles, and then I put the name up here. Probably it take me a while to ever pronounce it, but that's the Kashmir hour in French. So that was the idea. But I went back to our original one, and here you have. I like the original one because we're going to be having, I hope, enamel, a cream enamel one, and instead of having a square, we could put in a circle. I think it'd look probably or maybe an oblong, something like that. So those are the dial ideas that. And again, I'm not an artist, I'm not a designer or anything like that, but just sort of coming up with some ideas that we could kick around. Hi, GMT Master, how you doing? So let's see what you guys put on my max bill in the morning. Oh man, Williams watches. Hey, let's see. I am standing at the door waiting for the Amazon guy. Okay, keep us up to date on that, Eddie. We want to know as soon as he gets there with your stuff. Uh, please not. Well, okay. And that's something you guys help me out. I did it with my that's my Google French. All right. Um, so what would it be? Not as clever as you think in French. Okay. Okay, there we go. As we set I just set off Bruce and his goat rant and flipping Zippo and his. All right. Yeah, you too, Eddie. All right, so let's see. Yeah. Truth. Hey, truth fears guilty. What are you talking about? Okay, the hands are key when thinking in dials. Okay, um, I agree. Now, this is a one-hander. Okay, the only hand that's going to be in the watch, no matter what dial setup we use, it's just going to have a single hand. This one I put a little fatter Breguet hand in just to see it look like. And I don't know. What I'm probably going to do, I'm going to talk with a real designer and ask him or her about what goes with each other. And I'm going to get a real Frenchman to help me out with the name. Anybody a real Frenchman here? Uh, what is the perfect wedding watch in your mind? A perfect wedding watch? I don't know. I really haven't done much with wedding watches. Now said by wedding watches, you mean taking different parts and putting them together and making another watch. Is that what you mean by a wedding watch, or something that you wear to a wedding, especially your own? I'm not sure which one you mean. Dial could look like stained glass. Failing that, cream colored dial with a blued hand satisfy most folks. How do you know that, Corbin? Let's see. Mine. Let's see. Hey, Crappy, how you doing? Max D, how are you? One hand like a Meisinger. No, it's not like it is one hand, Max, but not like a Meisinger. Meisinger is first of all, it's not retrograde. Second of all, the Meisingers have you have all of those fine little gradations because the My Singer also is somehow I forgot how it keeps track of hours, but I don't think it does it with a jumping hour unless I'm mistaken. This one's going to have a jumping hour down at 6 o'clock. Hi Rohit, how you doing? Hi dog. Wedding watch for the groom. Oh, okay. There, I guess it's called a marriage watch. Is when you put different parts together. Let's see. What would a wedding watch? And run as soon as the priest says, "Do you accept?" I'd get a sports watch. I'd get a good chronograph. And bam, out the door. The cleaner has carefully extracted from the outer package. This is great. This is better than a soap opera. Keep going, Eddie. We're with you. Oh, Eddie, I just caught my tie in it. I'm choking. All right, let's see. There's a Red Star single-handed watch, 40 millimeters in dial. Truth fears, yeah. I tell you, this is what I think we ought to do. We ought to trying to find a retrograde dial like this one that James found. Um, like this Chronoswiss. I think this is a great looking one for for that kind of thing. I really like to find this watch and see what it looks like. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Um, for now, this is sort of what I have in mind for a number of reasons. One, it's simple, which means it may not cost as much, and I don't know. And it does. We don't need a name. Uh, we don't need a name here, and we don't need a goat logo either. So we'll see what we can do with that. Okay, what are some other ideas you guys have? Anything? What about the new master control? Yeah, that's a very clean one. With one hand and an Otto's instrument panel comes to mind. Hence, your layout is much like a car's dashboard gauge. There are plenty of examples. Great idea, Forbin. That is a good idea. The one that I like is if you took one hand off of the Rolex Air King. That comes from the ground racer, the Bloodhound, and that might as an idea for that. Who could make a nice retrograde dial and all matching, all custom and yada? Yeah, Satori Ballard. Yeah, I tell you, I have. Mm, yeah, we'll see. Okay, we let's try to stay in sequence here. The first step is we all get the movement. All of us who want to do this. Then we can have go to the next step, which is a case, and then after the case, then the dial. And I think if we go in that sequence, we'll just sort of be able to focus on one thing after another. And I think that's the correct sequence. I suppose we could go from movement to dial, and the advantage of that is that we'd be sure to get a case that fit the dial that we had. Uh, Either well, I don't know. There's something that's something we can. That's a bridge to cross when we come to it. Right now, we don't have a movement. We're waiting. I don't know. How do you say waiting for the movements? It's sort of like waiting for Godot, Onante Godot, something like that. I got the chrono. Didn't even look for it, but the movement is spectacular. Okay, Stefan, what chrono is this that you're talking about? Yeah. Hey, Bruce, it may have sailed and sunk. It's open, going to plug it in now. Eddie, a three-speeder. Oh. How about You call the watch Chronomet Cashmere. That's not a bad name. Oh, I like that, geezer. That sounds sort of cool, doesn't it? Um, hey, Mark, since many guys here like the retrograde, what do you think about bi retrograde to make everyone happier? Mark, Mark, now think about that. Do you know what's involved in a bi retrograde in terms of the movement? Have you thought about that? Here we saw, remember what we're doing, we're sort of following from a known, and I don't know if that would make everybody happier, to tell you the truth. Um, keeping herding the cats. Yeah, no kidding. Waiting for Godot. There you go, Hans. That's it. Let's see. Forbin, let's see. This may be the first project designed by a committee that succeeds. Yeah, I don't know. Forbin, I don't know if we've risen to the status of a committee. More of a the first time that the Frankenstein mob townsfolk with their burning torches got anything done. I hope we do too. I think it'd be a lot of fun to have something like that. You know, it may even be something quite fun to have. You know, what did you do in the pandemic? Well, we made this watch. We don't have to be. We don't need no stinking COSC and as something to tell us to use chronomet. Um, Listen, it's come. I mean, if we have an Agonor movement, we don't need COSC to tell us that it's a good movement. Trust me. There are some other movements, yeah, but not an Agonor. Oh, Mark, I tell you, listen, see how gray this hair is? It's going to be white by the time I'm finished. Oh, hey, Watch Habit, how you doing? Some Joyce quotes. Okay, Chromanet Cashmere was sans certification at the bottom. How about we don't need no stinking certification? That would be a good one. Uh, okay, Pandemic Academic. Hey, that's a cool name. Really. We'll call how we'll go old school and call it the bubonic plague. How about that? Instead of SUSC or made standard, we could call it GOAT. Yeah, the greatest of all time. That's a good one. Now, finally, Bruce, you hit with goat. Uh, that's right. We don't need no stinking certification. Some Hey, Fikey, how you doing? What's with no hat today? I just got out of the shower. I had to, I was out doing yard work, and my wife has a big stick with a string on it, and she dips me and pulls me out to dry off. Hadn't got around to my hat yet. Um, we're having this crazy weather. I don't know what the temperature is now, but it's supposed to snow, and I was just out mowing a yard, and mowing yards and snow just don't go together. Plowing the snow and snow go together, but not mowing the yard. I feel like eating spicy chicken tonight. Okay, a glass of wine and brie makes everything better. Oh, Hans, you are so right. Man, I could use that. You know, I, oh, hey, I just heard a big truck go by. Uh, uh, Geezer will have it 7 positions. Why don't we do this? We'll just say adjust it to 10 positions, and then we'll call it the Kama Sutra qualification. Yeah, certifiable, James. That's good too. It's the makers of this watch are certifiable. Thoughts on resins? I know that they use a heavily modified ETA and are owned by MELB. H. Moser? I didn't know that. Um, hmm. They have their watches are very highly regarded, and I think they've won some uh, GPHG awards, but I'm not sure. Can I see the hat on the table behind you? There is no. Ah, there we go. There's my hat. All right, everybody happy? You got it, Mark. Okay, a wife, a stick, a string. You're right, Stefan. We better shape up. NSC watching. Yeah, I know, but those guys, they got. They're, I think they've gone around the bend too. Um, okay. Sorry, Hotulence is used by MELB. Hotulence? Hotulence is a funny one. They used to be, the big thing just a few years ago, about 5 years ago. And now I found one today on what was it? On Touch of Modern for I think it was around 14,000, I think. Had been 60,000. And I guess some guy was trying to sell it. Whew. I wonder if he bought it for 60,000. GMT, have gotten so attached to my GMT, I don't think I have worn the same watch for as many consecutive days in a row. Yeah, hey, watch habit. I used to do that with my overseas. Every day I'd wear my overseas to work and did that for a number of years. Like my beret. Okay, how we doing? All right, let's talk about something else. Okay, real quick. You ever heard of the name Frank Spencer? Yeah, I have, Hans, but I'm not sure where or where from. There are a lot of names that I used to knew and do this and that, and tying them together with what I knew him from is a different thing. Okay, uh, Betty, Max, you got me. All right, what I wanted to talk about a little before we have to go is the earlier today, this morning, and I think we talked about it here a little yesterday, is about the whole issue of what was it? The whole concept of high horology and the these kinds of things that these big companies are doing, like Richemont, when they were spent $500 million to buy back some unsold stock so that it wouldn't go into the secondary markets and the prices would drop and we could get it for a good price. Instead, they just bought it all back. $500 million, which is a lot, and that was to keep the price high. If there's talk about artificially jacking up the price of something. Okay, so they do that, and they sort of been after the quartz crisis. Really, what happened? They went from a useful tool for telling time to something else, and as a time teller, it's not bad, but with your, all of the other devices that gives you very precise time, or even a cheap quartz will do it. So they had to do something, and then they came up with the idea of high horology, which in fact is a type of excuse to charge really high prices. And what I was thinking about was that, okay, so where do they go from here? What would be something that I think that would link them up better with us. It'd be good for us as collectors. It would be good for them as selling watches. Now, there's only so many people who can afford, watches in, 20,000, $30,000 range and upward. And so there you have a limited number of people. And so below that, then there are more that can afford 10,000, even more with 5,000, and a whole lot with 1,000 and below. And, during this time, there was something that came today. Ah, I know what it was. I've never seen this before. C64 sent me an email, Chrono 24, and they said, here are the three things about buying a watch. And one that I had not ever seen mentioned before was that, well, this is a good time for negotiations. So apparently, they're telling the people selling watches, really, you got to consider negotiations, because if you don't, they're going to buy it from the guy who's got a similar watch, or one that's less, stated as less than yours. And that was an interesting thing. I mean, when Chrono 24 is telling the sellers uh, and buyers to negotiate a better price, that's saying something. And what it's saying, I think, you better do it you better drop your price if you get an offer, because there aren't that many offers coming through. What do you think of that in terms of negotiation? Yeah, something else too. A lot of people say, "Well, we gotta, we have to keep these standards up and yada yada yada." And the poor old AD, has this and stuff. These poor old ADs, without blinking, are gonna charge you a premium. So don't, that's like fair is fair. Right now, it's rough on them. There's not a lot of people buying watches. If we buy any watch, we're helping them out. If we buy it at a better price, we're helping them out. If we don't buy anything, because they decided that, would listen to Biver, that, we got to keep the prices high, they could buy the farm doing that. And, so we're helping them out. That's the way I like to see it. Just like the AD is helping you out by charging you a premium. We're going to get a really good price. Hey, 73 Math, what's up? Okay, an A384 revival. Okay, Williams watches. What's a A384 revival? 73 Math took your advice, so it's on you, not me. Okay, sold my Speedy for a few years. Okay, I think patience is going to be the best approach. I read a report this morning that unemployment hit a high or higher than the Great Depression. Yeah, I know. It's really bad. The funny thing is, I think the difference between now and this, I think what's going to happen when things go back together again, um, is the Zenith. Thank you, Williams. I like Zenith. The the fact that um, we're getting any attention from a company like Aganor means that they're interested in new markets, which is us. That's a good thing, and it's good for them too. I mean, like, if how many watches do Van Cleef and Arpels sell? If they sell 100, 200, something like that. But there are a lot of people who's, we're not buying the whole watch and all of the advertising and everything else, and nor the markup that the middlemen have. There's not a middleman, there's a lot of different ones. So we might represent a future market that they really didn't think about, or they thought, well, if, we got to buy them back because the price is going to go down. The price goes down to where there are a lot more buyers, because if with a lower price, there are more people who can afford it. And that's not the greatest rocket science. Okay, Yeah, and that's something. We're on a rocky road. I tell you though, what I'm hoping is that we have a. I mean, I guess everybody's hoping for the same thing. The fundamentals are there um, for a strong economy, and in a lot of ways, the full employment that we've seen over the last few years has been because the baby boomers retired. I mean, like, all of a sudden, this huge amount of the demographics, and it's been, increasing for 11 years since about, I don't know, what, about 2008. And we've seen the economy go up and up and up. And then all of a sudden, wham, we get nailed with this virus and people can't go to work. Uh, Man, I tell you, this is, I don't know, without precedent. But see, this is an opportunity. There are two ways to look at it. One is the opportunity that um, starting to do things differently. I got a thing from a guy in Turkey today, and he said he wanted to have a meeting with me and some other people on a watch that they're making on Zoom. So sure, it's no big deal. Uh, and this kind of thinking is like, well, we had to do this, we had to do that during the pandemic, and so we changed some things, and because we changed them, we were able to get through the thing without the brick and mortar and face to face interaction. Um, One of my favorite stores in the world is Cellini's in New York, and I was looking at their today. They said they're closed. I mean, they're talking about the brick and mortar one on Park Avenue, but having talked to their owner, he had said, we started, doing more things online. This was before the pandemic hit, so we're going to see things like that. Moser set up a online thing very quickly, which was good. Um, and so I think coming out of this, there's there's some other opportunities. There are a lot of places that are hiring like mad. Now these are not the best jobs, but I'll bet someone who's done a lot of work in my field in the programming internet, they're not having a bit of problems, none at all, because they are in such high demand. And so things will change, I think. It's just going to be interesting to see how. Um, and I think like the stuff that Bivver is talking about, that was a solution. They needed to have a solution because suddenly here all of these watches the Swiss have been making using mechanical um, technology suddenly were here. You had a dirt cheap movement in the quartz, and so what they did, they reinvented themselves as having with high horology. But then enough of them started fudging so that it was, and then doing things like making them exclusive by buying them all back, and that kind of stuff is you know, that's not too exclusive. It's not exclusive because the guys like the Gronfeld brothers, uh, it takes a lot of time and talent to turn out a 1941 Remontois. And they made 100, I think 188 of them, and that's it. Now, I hope by the time I can save up enough to buy one from them, they'll have a few more available. I don't know. There's some things that there are things that are really hard to understand. Of course, our hobby is one I think even for us to understand. Okay, what's going on? Okay, Eddie, it makes a terrible sound. I won't say anything about that. Okay, let's see. 100% agree. I absolutely love this sizing of that watch and overall look. Okay, great. Okay. Mark J, we went into this with an incredibly weak economy that was artificially high for many reasons. Lots of people had their heads in the sand about a lot of things. Yeah, I think that's how the economy works, I'm afraid. Oh man, yeah. I don't know. it's going to be an interesting, the Chinese blessing and curse. May you live in interesting time. Boy, did we get it. I didn't want it this interesting, but it is pretty interesting. Okay, Eddie, all right, go ahead and take your best watch and give it a try. Put it in there, clean it up, and if that if it sounds like a garbage disposal, get it out of there quick. Hard to say. Yeah. One of the things, NS something and Mark, uh, I don't know about you, but we haven't had our bills have been a lot lower because we haven't been going out to dinner. We haven't been doing a lot of things. We haven't been going to the mall and getting something we have no use for, and then going out to lunch. All kinds of things like that that put the economy around. And some people are going to say, we can do without that, and that's where I think that's gonna hit hard. And of course, we may look at watches the same way. Well, we really don't need it. And so every time they come out with a new model from you name who, somebody says, well, I got that model. This one's with a new paint job. I don't know. We're in for some interesting stuff. Okay, terrible, nasty sound. Oh, nasally sound that I wasn't expecting. Thought it would be quieter. I mean, it is an ultrasonic cleaner, but it sounds like a garbage disposal. Is that what it is? You grind up everything and clean it up. It comes out really clean though. Okay, it should make a sound like that. Okay, you feel better now, Eddie? And as something said it, that's the way it's supposed to sound. I'm putting in a rusty metal block to try out first. Good idea. A rusty metal, not your car engine block, is it? You're absolutely amazing to see how much unnecessary spending was taking place before all this. Yeah, this is a thing. Some people miss it and some don't. Um, it used to be back in the sort of actually it was pre 9/11 in New York City. You get a really snotty waiter in a restaurant, and that was part of the New York experience. I had one of the worst, and you know that did I really miss that? I don't think so. Okay, yeah, I know, Mark. A bunch of people buying guns. S- Man, I tell you, that's scary. People buying guns. They've been watching too many of these apocalyptic shows. If it comes true, what are they going to do? you know, Hoping to keep the zombies from eating them. I don't know. Uh, the problem, I tell you what happened in Detroit, I think back in 1967. There were all of these riots and stuff. So people ran out and bought guns. And here's what happened: the domestic violence death increased, the accidental shootings increased by a lot. So what you may find is that people went out and got their Winchester or whatever they got, and after this whole thing is over and the zombies are nobody else came to get them and they had to protect themselves with a gun. Uh, they're going to have that thing hanging around, and if Junior gets into it and looks down the barrel to see if it's clean or not, those are more likely. Well, statistically, they do happen. So we'll see. The other day, some guy was out jogging, and these two yahoos shot him to death. This crazy stuff going on, but that I don't think is because of the pandemic. Um, it just I don't know what that is. Yeah, yeah, we do have a consumer society. We've had that for years. This is why people don't worry about sending stuff to China for manufacturing because manufacturing is so cheap. That manufacturing jobs are, what are you going to manufacture if you can buy it for a fraction of what it would cost to do here? One of the things that may happen, this may be out of national security, is that a lot of countries may start making their own computer components. If you open up an Apple computer or an IBM or PC or something like that, you open up your Dell, you're not going to find any parts there that are made in your home country unless you live in Malaysia or China. It's just that those things have happened. So this is one thing that I think that they may do. Um, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. What I'd like to see is they start saying, we really ignore the watch collectors. Let's start making really good watches with interesting stuff and at affordable prices. We've been trying to gouge them for too long. That's what I'm for. Okay, US will go right back over to consumption. The rest of the world, that might be different story. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We don't know. I got pandemic. I expected anarchy and zombies. What I got is home office and no toilet paper. Yeah, if the zombies had toilet paper, people may join them. We got toilet paper. I'm on your side. Yeah, I got Netflix. That was anyway. Oh, Mark, don't it's not criminal intent. People don't have. I don't know. I tell you, if I were a criminal, I would take a holiday just like everybody else. I don't know where you get that idea. Don't go paranoid though, please. Uh, I have no idea. Ah, okay. Clocks are overrated. Stoodles, jeez. Okay, now we're talking about guns. Thank you, Mark. All right, guys. Well, listen, we're over again. Sorry for that. Thank you all. Everybody be safe. Uh, if you have a gun, keep it in a gun safe and be safe with it. All right. I got a big stick, so I keep I keep it in a stick safe. So take care.